This short video will teach you how to get into a database and start figuring out what it can be used for. We've already had videos that have covered the difference between the PGCC catalog and the databases that the library offers, and we had another video with accessing databases. This one's going to get a little bit more specific about what's available inside of a database and some of the features that you can use. So go ahead and access the PGCC library, and then you want to click on Research Databases to bring up the list of databases. Now, what you want to remember is that not all databases have all types of sources. So it's really important that you begin by figuring out what it is that you want to find. It's just like we talked about before. If you know you're shopping for a particular item, you have an idea of which store to go into. And it's not really that much different for databases. The icon legend over in this section of the screen is really important for that. The ones that you are most likely going to use as a beginning student in PGCC are things that give you articles or newspapers and sometimes ebooks. There's also some really great streaming video databases that we're going to hear about during your presentation that can be really, really useful. So remember, the databases are arranged in alphabetical order, but it can be really kind of overwhelming trying to figure out what it is that you need if you don't already know which database it is that you need. So as I told you before, you can come on up here and click on by subject, and oftentimes that'll give you a much better idea of which database you should narrow your search down to based on the class that you're doing research for. So as we look through here, some of the ones you need to pay close attention to are these general databases. These are some of the biggest the PGCC has access to, and you can tell that they're pretty large because they have articles, ebooks, pictures, and videos in all of them, which is quite a lot of different kinds of sources. So what we are going to do today is take a look at one of the reference databases. And we're going to talk about CREDO Reference because CREDO is really one of the best databases that you can possibly use when you're getting started on researching a topic. A lot of people go automatically to Google or they go to Wikipedia for information, but if you know anything about those sources, you know that they're not really authoritative. They can change or be edited by pretty much anyone. CREDO is really great because it's kind of like a single way to search a whole lot of encyclopedias and dictionaries. Remember, a reference resource, these are kind of factual based resources. These would be your traditional dictionaries, encyclopedias, and thesauruses. CREDO is a great place to start because it has these things called topic pages, and I'm going to show you what those look like in just a minute. Now, with any database that you're new to, the first thing that you need to do is figure out what's going on in the database. Taking 5 or 10 minutes to just look around and get your bearings can save you countless hours in the long run. Most databases are going to have some sort of about page. So if we click on CREDO's about page, it's going to tell you exactly what CREDO Reference is and what it does. It tells you what they believe, it gives you citations for those things, so you can get a really specific idea of what kind of a database you're in. Now, if we go back to the main page, you're going to notice a couple things. Most databases will have these specific features. Most databases that you go to will have a basic search bar. This one is right in the front and center of the page. Sometimes they're off to the side, but most databases will have the same kind of search capabilities as something like Google or Yahoo or Bing. Most of them will have some sort of topic pages. So if you click on the topic pages, It's going to give you a list of information based on academic discipline or subject. If you know kind of what you're looking for, but you don't have a topic yet, that can be a really good way to search. Most databases will have some sort of featured content. If you were lost for an idea for a paper, a lot of times looking at the featured content can spark ideas. Most databases will also have some handy tools or ways to save results. So if we click on CREDO's, we can kind of explore the tools that they have. And it turns out that CREDO has lots of really interesting tools here. If you don't know a definition, it can look that up for you. It can find images. Apparently it can help you solve a crossword puzzle. It can give you quotations. If you look, it actually looks a lot like what you can find on Google, but this is all authoritative. You can use this in any academic paper. So let's go back to the home page and do a search. I'm going to pick something random like obesity, which is a huge topic. Now, what you're going to notice in CREDO is that they have these things called topic pages. Not every database is going to have these. Some databases are going to be much more like a Google site that just gives you lots and lots of results. But some databases like CREDO and some of the ones we'll be going over in class actually give you these pre-made pages that help contextualize and give you extra information to guide your search. So in this case, CREDO has two topic pages, a basic page about obesity, and then a secondary page about childhood obesity. Now, it's not going to have a topic page for everything. If we had searched a less robust term, we might just get a list of entries like this. A couple other things you could take note of. Every time you do a search, and it really doesn't matter which database you're using, there will be a way to narrow or filter your search. So if you're getting way too many search results, take a minute and shop a little bit better. CREDO will also, in this case, give you a list of related resources. So if you take a look at these, some of them might look familiar because most of these, well, all of these really, are in the PGCC library database list. Not all databases will have this, but what this tells you is CREDO is actually pulling from all of these different resources and bringing them all to one specific place so that you don't have to go to these particular resources to find what you're looking for after this. Okay, so let's click on one of these topic pages and take a look at what it is. So what CREDO does, and why it's really interesting and I think a great place for beginning researchers to start, is it really sets up an overview. It gives you, if you take a look, this particular overview here that you can click on and continue reading if you'd like, which gives you a complete overview of the issue at hand. And then what it's going to do is give you the entries grouped. So it has all of the images and videos together. It's going to put the articles listed, as you can see, by the database that they came from together. So that you can see exactly, if you would go, say, to ProQuest, here's what you would find if you searched for childhood obesity. It's one of the reasons I really like CREDO, because it kind of brings all of this and gives you a good first step towards searching. It's going to give you books, if there are any, news, if there are any. And then it'll give you other suggested resources that if you haven't found what you wanted, it'll find it for you. Now, there's a couple other things that CREDO does that are helpful. It gives you these related topics. So maybe you're reading through this topic page on childhood obesity and it's not quite what you're looking for. Most databases have a list of related topics or suggested searches that help you kind of piggyback on your search. Many databases have ways that you can listen to the page instead of reading. Oftentimes, they will have ways for you to immediately email this information to yourself directly. But this is the one I really want to take a look at, is this print and export. Every database that I've ever run across has this feature. Now, you want to make sure that anytime you find a source, you save yourself a copy of that source, because nothing is worse than thinking that you're done with the assignment and then realizing you need one little piece of information from an article that you never printed off and now you have to go find from scratch. There's a lot of really easy ways to go about this. Most of them will have a way for you to print your research. In this case, when you click print, it will bring up a PDF file. And once you have the PDF file, you can save it like any other PDF file. You can print it like any other PDF file so that you have a hard copy and a saved copy of it. Many databases will allow you to create an account and to save your searches within the database. And I think that's really a good feature as well, especially if you're going to be on the go. Now, a lot of databases now are doing this great thing where they give you a way to cite the source. So if I just click on here on EasyBib, for example, and then we allow the pop-up, we'll see if we can get it to work. It's going to give you a pre-made bibliographic reference. Now, here's the problem with this. If we take a look at this particular bibliographic reference, it says it's MLA 7, but from a single glance, I can see it's not, because right now it has this URL that isn't part of MLA anything anymore. So I would really caution you to not worry so much about using those easy formatting bibliography tools, because oftentimes they don't work. And even those that do work, they have placeholders and you might not need all that information. All of the sources that you find are going to give you the bibliographic information somewhere on the page so that you can cite it appropriately in your book. So I hope this has helped you kind of get an idea of how you can go into a database and get started looking. Basically, databases all operate the same way. They all have a search bar. They all have different ways to filter your results or ways to browse. And they all have different features in terms of if you can print and email, but they all do have those features. And basically, if you give yourself an extra 5 or 10 minutes, just like we've done here, to familiarize yourself with the database, then doing the searches for the information you need are going to be a snap.